I was signing the arrest warrant for my own son when it finally hit me. He never really knew who I was. My name is John Carter, and this is the story of how my only son tried to destroy everything I built, and how I stopped him without raising my voice. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end and let me know which city you're listening from. That way, I can see how far my story has traveled. 3 months ago, my heart nearly stopped for good. I had a massive heart attack, dropped the coffee mug right out of my hand, and collapsed in my kitchen, just like that. I woke up in the cardiac ICU, confused, groggy, wrapped in tubes like some half-assembled machine. The heart monitor beeped like a clock ticking away what little time I had left. And sitting beside me was my son, Braden. Tears welled in his eyes, his hands shaking as he leaned in close. "Dad, thank God you're awake. You scared the hell out of me." I tried to speak, but my mouth was dry, my chest burning like it had been split open, which it had. Dr. Eric Monroe, my cardiologist, walked in soon after. A calm man, with a voice like someone reading bedtime stories. "Mr. Carter," he said, "you're lucky to be alive. You've had a massive heart attack. We performed a triple bypass. You'll need a minimum of 2 weeks recovery, and I need you to avoid all stress. That includes business decisions. Your heart can't take it." Braden nodded like a soldier taking orders. "Don't worry, document. I've got everything handled. Dad, you just rest. I'll take care of the house, the cars, the bills, all of it." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to be proud. I should have looked closer at how fast he volunteered. For 13 days, I drifted in and out of consciousness. Morphine numbed the pain. The medication kept my mind foggy. And every day, Braden visited, looking more confident, more in control. "Don't worry, Dad. Everything's handled. Bills are paid. Taxes taken care of. Just rest." But Braden didn't know something important, and that little detail would become his undoing. On January 20th, just days after my surgery, Dr. Monroe had quietly run a mental competency test. It's standard, especially for older patients. I scored a 29 out of 30. I was sharp. Even under heavy meds. The medical records backed that up, and those would become crucial later. On January 28th, they finally wheeled me out of that hospital. Braden showed up grinning, his designer sunglasses hooked on his collar, driving his shiny black BMW. "Where's my truck?" I asked. "It's in the shop, Dad. Don't worry about it." The ride home was smooth. Too smooth. I should have noticed the tension in his hands on the steering wheel. I should have noticed how he avoided my eyes in the rearview mirror. But it wasn't until we pulled into the driveway that I felt something was wrong. The garage was empty. Gone. Every last one of my babies. My 1967 Mustang Shelby GT 500. My 1963 Corvette split window. My 1969 Camaro SS. Gone. I turned to him, slow and steady. My voice calm, but there was a tremor in my hands that wasn't from the medication. "Where are my cars, Braden?" He helped me out of the car, eyes locked on the ground. "Dad, you were really sick. I had to make some tough calls. The insurance, the upkeep, they were a burden. I sold them." "You what?" "You weren't even driving them, Dad. And I invested the money. High-yield stuff. You'll thank me later." I could barely stand. I turned toward the house, needing to feel the ocean breeze on my face, something real, something I'd built with my own 2 hands. And that's when I saw it. A sold sign. Right where my $2.3 million beach house used to sit, the house I built board by board in 1987. The house where my wife and I had our first dance. Where she died holding my hand just 3 years ago. Gone. Just like the cars. The agency name? Coastal Rise Realty. The same agency Braden had said got him great deals. My agency. The one I founded. I stared at the sign. Then at my son. Brayden, I said, my voice low and tight, you sold my house. Dad, he said, hands up, voice soft like he was talking to a toddler, I had to protect your future. The medical bills, the recovery, it's just real estate. You always told me it's about cash flow, right? I stood there, heart pounding, trying to breathe, trying not to scream. He smiled. It's all invested now. You'll thank me. I didn't thank him. I asked for the paperwork. His hands trembled slightly as he pulled out a manila folder. Power of attorney. My signature. Every page. Except, it wasn't my signature. It looked close. Too close. But I've been signing contracts for over 30 years. I know my own name. When did I supposedly sign these? I asked. January 22nd. Morning. You were alert. Right before your second procedure. Brayden, I said, looking him dead in the eye, I was unconscious for 18 hours straight that day. His smile faltered. He had no idea I already had the medical records. And he had no idea who he had just declared war on. I wasn't just his sick old man. I was John Carter, the man who built an empire by hand. And I was about to remind my son what happens when you steal from someone who spent 30 years learning how to take it all back. Let me ask you something, if you were in my shoes, what would you have done in that moment? Drop your answer below. Because what happened next? At his engagement party? In front of 200 people? That wasn't just revenge. It was chess. And I was the grandmaster. Part 2 coming next. I didn't sleep that first night back home. I sat alone in my kitchen, the only room Brayden hadn't touched, staring at a pile of unpaid invoices and empty memories. My beach house, gone. My cars, sold. My trust, shattered. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I calculated. The house, $2.3 million. The car collection, $890,000. My life's work, reduced to liquidation reports and forged documents. And the worst part? This wasn't just about money. It was about Sarah. She died in that house. My wife of 35 years. We had our first dance on the back deck under a sky full of stars, barefoot, laughing like teenagers. The same deck where I scattered some of her ashes. Gone. All of it, gone. And for what? A leased BMW and a Rolex? I opened the safe tucked behind the pantry door, the one even Brayden didn't know about, and pulled out the letter Sarah left for me before the cancer took her. I'd only ever read it once. I opened it with trembling hands. John, I know you'll want to give Brayden everything. But make him earn it. Make him prove he understands the value of what you've built. Don't let him become the kind of man who takes without giving back. My throat closed. I could almost hear her voice as I read it again. She'd seen something in Brayden long before I did. Or maybe I'd chosen not to see it. I made one phone call that morning. Margaret, it's John. She gasped. John? Thank God you're okay. Brayden said it was touch and go. I almost laughed. Margaret, I need you to run some numbers for me. She didn't ask why. We'd been business partners for 2 decades. She helped me build Coastal Rise Realty from a vacation rental into a $35 million empire. Quietly, I added. I want to know exactly how much Brayden cost me. And I want to know if anyone used our agency to move properties in the last 3 weeks. 3 hours later, she showed up at my kitchen table with a stack of documents that made my stomach twist. He came to the office on January 22nd, she said. Claimed you gave him full power of attorney. He wanted to liquidate your non-performing assets to pay for your medical bills. I shook my head slowly. And no one verified? Margaret looked embarrassed. Our junior associate, Rebecca Martinez. She's new, 6 months in. Brayden was Convincing. She laid out the sales contracts, commission reports, bank transfers. We made $138,000 commission on the house, and $15,000 for the car collection. Total, $153,000. Then I did something that surprised both of us. I laughed. A sharp, bitter laugh that felt like it had been trapped in my chest for weeks. John. Margaret looked at me like I'd lost it. Do you know what this means? I said through a half-chuckle, half-weary sigh. Margaret blinked. My son stole from me, using my own company. He paid me commission to help him commit fraud against me. Her eyes widened. Oh my God. That boy really is an idiot, I muttered. Margaret shook her head. And the best part? He doesn't even know I own Coastal Rise. We sat in stunned silence for a moment, then I leaned forward. Margaret, here's what I need. Document everything. Every call, every lie, every signature. Pull the security camera footage from January 22nd. Conference room, front desk, parking lot. Her eyes narrowed. What are you planning? I picked up Sarah's letter again and read the final line out loud. Don't let him become the kind of man who takes without giving back. I'm going to give Braden exactly what he's earned, I said. But not yet. When? March 9th. His engagement party. At the Ocean View Grand, I nodded. He specifically invited me. Wants me to give a toast. Margaret leaned back in her chair, lips parting slowly as the realization dawned. You're going to expose him. I shook my head. I'm going to let him expose himself. If your own child betrayed you like this, would you call the police, or wait for the perfect moment to let the truth destroy them in public? Let me know in the comments. I need to know I'm not the only one feeling this. Because in part 3, I started recording everything. And what Braden confessed in my kitchen. That was the first nail in his golden coffin. Part 3 drops next. Don't miss it. February 9th. Braden came over for what he called a financial strategy session. That's what he was calling it now, strategy. Not recovery. Not help. Strategy. He walked into my kitchen with that smug, corporate smile. The one he wore when he wanted to sell me something I didn't ask for. He set his laptop down on my table like a magician setting up for a trick. Dad, I know you're upset about the cars and the house, he began, but let me walk you through the numbers. I think you'll be impressed. He clicked. Spreadsheets popped up. Colorful graphs, investment buzzwords. All the things he thought made him sound smart. I liquidated $3.19 million in depreciating assets, he said proudly. Depreciating assets. I leaned back in my chair, keeping my face neutral. Classic cars, he said, waving a dismissive hand. They're money pits. Maintenance, insurance. You weren't even driving them. And real estate? I asked. Flat market, Dad. Outer Banks hasn't grown in 2 years. You taught me to move fast. I moved fast. I watched him talk, fast, confident, like a man on stage. He had no idea my phone in my pocket was recording everything. He clicked again. I moved the money into emerging market funds. Diversified. Conservative return, 12% minimum. That's $380,000 a year in passive income. I nodded slowly. Where's the money now? In digital portfolios, he said. Wells Fargo Private Banking. They specialize in high net recovery. Show me the statements. He paused. Dad, come on. You don't understand modern investing. It's all digital now. Real-time tracking. AI. Algorithmic trading. That word, algorithmic, slipped out of his mouth like a kid trying to sound grown. Braden, I said, softly, where's the proof? He closed the laptop. I'll email you the reports. Open it, I said, this time firm. His hands hovered over the keys. I could see the tremble in his fingers. He opened the file. And that's when I saw it. Stock photos. Fake dashboards. Screenshots with date stamps from January 15th, the morning I had my heart attack. Before he sold anything. Braden, I said, my voice low, these are fake. Where's the money? His jaw tightened. Dad, you're getting worked up. I'm not angry. I'm asking. Where's my money? Silence. Then, it's invested. In what? Emerging markets. Which ones? The Pacific Growth Initiative. I pulled out my phone, Googled it. Nothing. No fund by that name. No database hits. Not even a scam alert. Braden, I said, staring him down. That fund doesn't exist. It's exclusive, he snapped. Only accessible through Wells Fargo. I hit call on speaker. Wells Fargo Private Banking, this is Jennifer speaking. Hi, Jennifer. John Carter here. I'm calling about my Pacific Growth Initiative investment. Pause. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not familiar with that fund. Do you have an account number? Braden lunged and hit end call. We stared at each other. Strangers now. You spent it, I whispered. No. Dad, listen. It's complicated. There are lock periods and liquidity delays. You gambled it. I invested it in lifestyle improvements. The BMW, the engagement ring. It's all temporary. The market will bounce back. I clenched my jaw. How much is left? Liquid? Yes. Cash. Maybe, $200,000. 200,000. Out of $3.19 million. Dad, he whispered. Please. I just need 6 months. I can get it back. With what? I'll hustle. I'll get another job. Maybe 2. Braden, you don't even own a bed. Your car is leased. That Rolex you flash around town. That's evidence now. He swallowed hard. Please, Dad. Don't give up on me. I stood. And for the first time, I saw it not as a betrayal, but as a mirror. I'd created this. Not on purpose. But I did it. He never knew who I was because I let him believe I was just some lucky landlord. He thought I was weak because I kept my power quiet. That night, after he left, I stared at the walls of my kitchen and whispered into the dark. You think I'm a stupid old man? You're about to find out who I really am. If your own child stole everything you built, then stood in your kitchen lying to your face, what would you do next? Drop your answer below. I need to know I'm not crazy for how I felt. Because in part 4, Braden throws an engagement party. And he invites me to give a toast. What he didn't know. I had evidence. Recordings. Security footage. And a plan. He thought I was going to praise him. Instead, I brought the house down. Part 4 is coming. You'll want to hear what happened next. March 9th, Ocean View Grand Ballroom. 7:30 p.m. sharp. I stepped into the room wearing a tailored charcoal suit I hadn't touched in 5 years, the same one I wore to Sarah's funeral. She always said I looked dangerously handsome in it. That made me smile. Tonight wasn't about revenge. It was about precision. 200 people were in that ballroom, all dressed to the nines, sipping champagne, complimenting floral centerpieces they'd forget by morning. The band played something slow and expensive. I clutched a manila envelope under my arm like it was loaded with dynamite. Because it was. Braden spotted me instantly. His smile stretched like elastic as he weaved through the crowd, dragging Catherine, his fiancée, by the hand. Dad! You made it! He looked like success incarnate. Trimmed beard, crisp suit, confidence dripping off him like cologne. Catherine smiled nervously. "Mr. Carter, I've heard so much about you. It's so wonderful to finally meet you." I nodded, warm but distant. "Please. Call me John." "Braden tells me you taught him everything about real estate and wealth building," she said, eyes bright with pride. I raised an eyebrow. "Did he? He's so grateful for your guidance. It's been transformational for him." Braden beamed. "Dad's being modest, as usual. He's taught me everything I know." That's when Richard Mills, Catherine's father, approached. Gray hair. Rolex. The kind of man who smells like leather and legacy. "John Carter," he said, extending his hand. "Pleasure. Mills Maritime. Braden speaks very highly of you. Says you're a real estate guy, small scale, but honest." Small scale. I smiled tightly. That's one way to describe it. "Don't let him fool you, Mr. Mills," Braden said, clapping me on the back. "My dad's a quiet genius. He gave me $3 million to manage, early inheritance, you know. And I've already grown it with some aggressive investment strategy." Richard gave an approving nod. "Impressive. Most young men waste opportunities." Braden seized his. Seized. Ha! I could feel my pulse in my jaw. Not from stress, from the storm I was holding back. We were soon joined by Patricia Mills, Catherine's mother. A woman who looked like she hadn't taken a public breath since 1985. "John, lovely to meet you. Braden says you've built such a nice little rental portfolio. Very inspiring." "Truly. Little. Cute." These people had no idea. "Catherine," Patricia said, "Braden was just telling me about the beach house sale. Smart financial thinking. Right, Mr. Carter?" "Very educational," I said. Catherine giggled. "Braden said you wanted to focus on liquidity. Getting out of dead assets and into growth markets." I watched Braden. He was soaking it up. The praise. The admiration. Then, a soft clinking sound, a spoon against a champagne flute. Attention turned. "Everyone," Catherine said, her voice light and glowing, "before dinner is served, Braden would like to make a special toast." Braden stepped forward, holding his glass high. "I just want to thank the most important person in my journey. My father. Dad, your belief in me, your financial trust, it changed my life. I hope I've made you proud." Polite applause. A few murmurs of approval. Even some head nods. Braden turned toward me. "Dad, would you like to say a few words?" I stepped forward. Slow. Steady. The ballroom quieted. 200 pairs of eyes turned to me, guests, co-workers, in-laws. Even the band had stopped. I pulled out my phone. "Actually," I said, "I'd love to share something Braden said to me just last week." I tapped the screen. The speakers hummed to life. Then Braden's voice, loud and clear. "Dad, you don't understand modern finance. Your old-school real estate approach is dead." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Braden froze, his smile collapsing like a sandcastle in the tide. I paused the recording. "That was my son," I said calmly, explaining why he sold my house and car collection while I was recovering from heart surgery. The room was dead silent. Someone dropped a fork. Another person whispered, "What?" "Braden," I turned toward him, "would you like to explain how you turned $3.19 million into $200,000 in just 6 weeks? More gasps. Catherine was now staring at him like she didn't recognize the man standing next to her. He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. "Or," I continued, reaching into the envelope, "should I show everyone the forged power of attorney documents? The ones you signed while I was unconscious in cardiac ICU?" I held them up. Medical records. Signature reports. The works. My son didn't manage my money, I said softly. He stole it. Catherine staggered back. Her mother's hand shot to her mouth. Richard stepped forward, eyes wide. This can't be true. It's all here, I said, handing him the envelope. Every signature, every lie. And one more thing. I reached into my jacket and pulled out one final sheet. The business incorporation document for Coastal Rise Realty. Braden chose Coastal Rise to sell my house. He thought it was just some agency that gave him a great deal. I held up the page. Coastal Rise Realty was founded in 1995, by me. The silence shattered into murmurs, gasps, and shocked stares. I own the company. Braden committed fraud using my own business. He literally paid me to help him steal from me. Braden stepped back. Dad, please. You invited me here to toast your financial brilliance, I said, raising my glass. So here it is. I looked at the crowd, voice unwavering. To my son, Braden, who taught me that betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes, it wears your last name. No one drank. Braden turned. And ran. What would you do if your own child stole from you, then lied to everyone about it? Would you forgive? Expose them? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear from people who've been there. But it doesn't end there. Because in part 5, the police get involved. The courtroom fills up. And Braden? He finally learns what it costs to lie, steal, and underestimate John Carter. You do not want to miss how this ends. Part 5 is next. Braden didn't call me that night. Or the next. He disappeared, his phone off, email quiet. But the damage was done. The Mills family pulled the engagement. Catherine's father, Richard, called me personally. John. I don't know what to say. I trusted him with my daughter. My company. He fooled all of us, I said. No, Richard replied, his voice cracking. He fooled me because I wanted to believe the story. 2 days later, my phone rang again. Mr. Carter? This is Detective Serena Torres with the Outer Banks Police Department. We received a call from Dr. Monroe about a potential elder fraud case. I closed my eyes, breathed in. Yes, Detective. I have all the documentation. When I walked into the station with my boxes of evidence, the recordings, the forged signatures, the medical reports, her eyes widened. This is incredibly thorough. I've spent 30 years building businesses, I said quietly. I know how to document betrayal. 3 hours later, Braden was arrested at his apartment. No press. No cameras. Just a confused 28-year-old man in a crumpled suit, handcuffed in silence, staring at the ground like it might give him a better ending. His bail was set at $500,000. He didn't make it. No one stepped forward. His so-called friends vanished. His cards were maxed out. His bank accounts overdrawn. A week later, I got the call. Dad, it's me. His voice was low. Hello. I know you don't want to hear from me. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I thought I could fix everything before it got bad. I messed up. Bad. I said nothing. Dad, do you hate me? That question stopped time. Hate him? No. I hated what he did. I hated who he became. But I didn't hate my son. Braden, I said softly, I love you. But love doesn't erase consequences. You betrayed everything I taught you. Silence. I know, he said. I'll take whatever punishment I get. 2 weeks later, Braden stood in court. He didn't wear a suit. He didn't try to perform. For once, he just looked like someone trying to face himself. The judge read his sentence slowly. 4 years in state prison. Eligibility for parole after 2. Full restitution required, $2,994,000. Forgery. Elder fraud. Grand theft. He didn't argue. He didn't cry. He just turned once, before they led him away in cuffs. "Dad," he whispered, voice shaking. "I'm sorry." I nodded. That's all I gave him. Not revenge. Not rage. Just the truth. And that night, for the first time since Sarah died, I slept. Real, peaceful sleep. Because I had honored her letter. Make him earn it. Don't let him take what he hasn't built. I didn't destroy Braden. He did that all on his own. But I gave him a chance to rebuild. And surprisingly, he did. 6 months into his sentence, I received a letter. "Dad, I've been attending financial accountability workshops. I'm working in the prison library now, helping inmates understand basic money management. For the first time in years, I'm doing something honest. Something good. I know I can't undo what I did. But I want to learn how to be a man again. One who earns trust. Not steals it. I'm sorry, Dad. And I love you. Braden." I sat there in my kitchen, tears welling in my eyes, the same kitchen where he'd once lied to my face. I looked out at the ocean. That same Atlantic view I'd rebuilt my life to keep. My new beach house, smaller, simpler, but mine. And I whispered to the sea. He's learning. A few months later, I updated my will. Margaret helped me draw it up with every safeguard imaginable. 50% to charity. 30% in a trust for Braden, accessible only after 5 consecutive years of honest work and community service. 20% for him to start a real business, one that serves people, not just his ego. With 3 independent trustees overseeing everything. No more loopholes. No more blind faith. Just structure. Just honor. Then came the moment I wasn't expecting. Margaret handed me a check. From Richard Mills. 6 months rent advance, and a formal apology. "We trusted the wrong man," he said. "But we're not running. We're standing beside the man who was wronged." I shook his hand. That's what real leadership looks like. A year passed. Braden was granted early parole. He sent me one last letter. "Dad, I've been offered a job at a nonprofit. It pays $35,000. Not much. But I'll be teaching elderly folks how to protect themselves from scammers like the man I used to be. If you'll have me. I'd like to come home. Not as your heir. Not as your business partner. Just as your son. Trying to earn your respect. One honest day at a time." I cried. For the first time in a long time, I really cried. Not out of grief. But hope. I wrote back. "Son, honor isn't a memory. It's a daily decision. Come home when you're ready to choose it. Tell me in the comments. And if you've dealt with something similar, share your story. You're not alone." Subscribe for more stories about standing your ground and reclaiming your life. Braden lost everything, but he found a path forward. And I kept my name. My dignity. My soul. Because blood is thick, but honor is thicker. Sometimes the loudest way to fight is to stand still, speak softly, and let the truth roar louder than revenge ever could. This is John Carter. And this was the day I took my life back.